Yeah.
Laughing, pretty baby. Someday you're gonna be crying. Yeah, you've been laughing, pretty baby. Someday you're gonna be crying. Further on up the road, you find out I wasn't lying. Further on up the road, someone's gonna hurt you like you hurt me. Further on up the road, someone's gonna hurt you like you hurt me. Further on up the road, darling, just you wait and see.
Done and the weekend's here. I'm up at dawn, gotta make it clear. The hunt is on, I'm feeling that fire. Got FOMO bad and I'm down to the wire. Rolling out the morning light, chasing that beast that's out of sight. Got my spot all picked out right, gonna score that bottle tonight. Oh, but the whiskey tour's got that first, left me standing feeling cursed. No JD, no Wild Turkey's best. No Russell's 15 left on the shelf. Guess I'll see if I like the rest. Charlie, Jeff, and a special guest, sipping up all the liquid joy. Cast 529, got the last sweet sip. Guess I need to learn to double click and hit subscribe quick. I walk in the store, see a big guy there.
Reach out. That could be one of our things we do. You know, we're talking about doing these commercials or these ads or these videos for these different products. I can reach out to a manufacturer that makes it today, get one, and you do the video, and sit there and go, oh. I'm riding the cart and you're going,
With the glitter in my hand and burn.
no doubt that.
All right,
that
no,
sticker
hold on, Torp. It does not say who is in my ass. Oh my God, it does. If you separate it, it does says who's in my ass.
in my ass.
Oh shit.
Who in my ass?
My systems. I'm starting to become immune to fresh. This doesn't even bother me anymore.
That's fresh.
Oh.
I'm like, that smells pretty good.
If you can't beat them, join them too. Sub to bourbon and balls and find something new. So I'll raise my glass to the whiskey crew. Those tubers know just what to do.
Hi there, I'm Steve Higdon coming to you from the Bid Bourbon Club based in Louisville, Kentucky. It's all over the world. Whether you're a bourbon beginner trying to determine the difference between wheat and rye, or whether you've been in the game for a while and you're an old pro like me, we have created a community of bourbon enthusiasts from all walks of life, allowing you to engage with other people and learn from the very best in the industry. We have cultivated a community of master distillers and distilleries that have come alongside the Bid Bourbon Club to provide monthly tastings, education, and barrel picks that you can find at bourbonandballz.com. We even created our own app experience made just for you, our virtual speakeasy. The Bid Bourbon Club app is designed to take your interaction to the next level. By becoming part of our community, you will gain access to our exclusive one-of-a-kind app platform, which allows you to engage with users from all over the world. From barrel picks to distillery tours and tastings, as well as behind-the-scenes access to knowledge and resources, the Bid Bourbon Club is a gateway to new friendships that will help you enjoy bourbon like you never have before. Cheers.
All right, we're good.
We're good?
Yep, we're good.
Yep, Steve will be here. How's my mic?
Your mic should be good. Chat's gonna let us know, but we are live here from Louisville, Kentucky, at Joe's older.
Yeah.
The dirt. Yeah.
Hey, Charlie.
How you doing? All right.
Sandy Jones.
Oh, hey. Oh, nice. Thanks for joining. Thank you. Sorry, we just ran into a viewer. Whatever you.
It's a great community.
Great
Yes,
community,
it is.
right? So, hey, yeah, see, we are here live from Louisville, Kentucky, here at Joe's Older Than Dirt Bar.
Yep. I'm doing great.
Nice to see you.
It's a pleasure.
This is great. So, all right, very good. Mark Carter, welcome to Bourbon and Balls. I appreciate you coming here. You guys have an event here at 2 o'clock, I understand, so we're going to stick to that. We're going to stream that from everybody. But we know a lot about you.
Yeah. What do you know?
Well, we know your bourbon. And
Well, that's all you really need to know, I think.
yeah, we know a few headlines too, but we know the bourbon most importantly. Man, what a fantastic lineup you got. Tell us how all this started.
I was in the wine for a long time. I still am. I have a winery in Napa Valley, and it's going strong. I've left it in good hands. I have two great actually winemakers out there, Russell Bevan and Dan Blaine. And so we make about 4,000 cases of Cabernet, and we also have a winery called Envy. But during that time, somebody came to me and wanted me to make actually wine for them, and they had a great story. They were in the bourbon business 100 years before.
Okay.
And I said, well, we can make some wine for you for your tavern, but you know, your dad told me a story. You used to make bourbon. Why don't we bring your brand back? And the young man, Dixon Dedman, said, we could do that. I said, Dixon, we can do anything we set our minds to. And I said, I got a little money. I've got talent that can get the licensing and everything we need. And we were off to the races, and we restarted a brand called Kentucky Owl.
Yes.
And we had it until the 2017 when it sold, and then we started Old Carter Whiskey Company the next day. We bought barrels, and we started to distill.
Okay.
So we have a whole bunch of 8-year-old that was in 17. It's already 8-year-old bourbon, and we do source. I love lots of different distillers, and if I find good barrels, I will buy those barrels. I am, really a blender.
Okay.
And that's what I love doing.
Well, what you do have, you have premium stuff too. So you must have quite a bit of the process to select those barrels, right?
Yeah, we'll buy 100 barrels at a time, and I'll taste through every barrel. What we do a lot is I do a lot of double barreling, not double oaking, but double barreling.
Okay.
And I buy new barrels, different char levels, and from different coopers. I love all the different nuances that those barrels
impart onto the whiskeys. And we make, basically 4 main SKUs. We do a rye. We started with a rye, and we're going to have some rye today. And we, after the rye, we did the bourbon, and then we did American whiskey. And we also do Kentucky whiskey. And so those are primarily SKUs that we use for all our distributors across the country. We are in 13 states at the moment. We're opening up a couple more states this year.
Okay.
People always ask us about where can we find your
Sure, right.
And it doesn't stay on the shelves very long.
No, it doesn't.
It is allocated to a lot of the different liquor stores and bars. We're trying to make more to actually supply all the people that love and support us.
So there was a pause, correct?
Yes, there was.
You want to explain about that and how you guys are up and running now? I'm assuming.
So, as I had a partnership, and that partnership kind of dissolved. And it took me almost 2 years to get the company back.
Okay.
And I didn't know if I was going to get it back, so we took in some new partners, and we're back in business. And since March 4th was the day that the Old Carter Whiskey Company closed and the new chapter opened.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned you make American whiskey and Kentucky whiskey.
Yes.
Now, we've got a lot of viewers that are new to the bourbon world, whiskey world. Can you explain the difference between the two?
Yes. Our mash bills on the American whiskeys are a 99.1, which would qualify because we also have bourbons that are 99.1. The only difference between it being whiskey or bourbon is that it either went into a used oak barrel, or it was distilled above 190, or went into that barrel at over 125. Those are really the things that would rule it out. We believe, since most of those are American whiskeys that we've released have been about 131 proof to 140 proof, that it probably went into the barrel over and probably went into a used barrel. We know it went into a used barrel. Now the Kentucky whiskey is a 70% mash bill, so it would qualify also. And I don't believe it was entered into the barrel over, to speak of, 125. It's 131. And it probably wasn't distilled over 190. But it definitely went into a used barrel also. But it was distilled in Kentucky. The Americans that we've used up to this date have been distilled in Indiana.
Okay. So, question out there, someone was asking, are you able, they were intrigued with your winery story. Are you able to disclose that at all as far as what that was?
Yes. Carter Cellars is my wine brand. You can actually go on the website, cartercellars.com, and we can almost ship wine any state in the U.S.
Okay.
So, and one thing is, we've been very fortunate. I've been making wine since '98, and I was there early enough to get on some of the great vineyards of the world. One of the vineyards I'm on is the Toklon Vineyard, which we have got over 2,100 point wines from that vineyard from 4 different critics. We've also are on another vineyard called Las Piedras, and we just got another 4 100 point wines, so we should be at 31 100 point wines, which, when you think about it, a lot of these wineries that have never got 100 points. And Dobby still hasn't got 100 points. Camus has never got 100 points.
Here you have 4.
Silver Oak has never got 100 points. We make wines handmade. We take really good care of them. We use the best barrels, the best corks, and all of that good stuff.
I love that Michael Bolt picture on your profile. Michael.
Yeah.
It was all fine and dandy until that no-tail and S-cloud wasn't cramming.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand we're live.
Yeah, it's all right.
That's all right.
We're friends. Your friends and my friends.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. We're running into some of our viewers. So anyways, so go ahead with your winery, but you know, the fact that you mentioned those people who have not won the 100 point, or they haven't gotten the 100 points, but you guys done it 4 times. Is that right?
Yeah, 31 times.
31 times.
31 times. Oh,
31
crap.
times, yeah.
Jesus.
We've had great winemakers and great vineyards, and I just am so happy we've had a great team for over 25 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So the Kentucky Owl is still on the shelf.
Yes, yes, it is. It was bought by Stolen Vodka in 17. Maybe if I can find some investors, you know, maybe we can buy that back and restart that.
Yeah.
Anything's possible.
Anything, that's right.
Everything is.
That's right.
So
So
for those
money.
who are going to stick around for the actual event at 2 o'clock, we'll have Steve Higdon here from the Bid Bourbon Club. What exactly will they be? Will we tasting your 4 expressions?
We're going to, yes, there's 4 expressions that we'll be tasting today. We have a rye.
Yeah.
That's the first thing we taste. And that, well, actually, I think the bourbon's first. There's a 15, batch 15, which was all double barreled.
Okay.
That's the only one that has been all double barreled except for batch 5 bourbon. You know, a lot of times there'll be a large percentage is double barreled. On the rye, there is some that batch 2 rye, which was the first release we ever did with batch 1 and 2. We released them at the same time, and
Okay.
it was only sold in Kentucky.
And how many did you guys yield off of that? It
We
couldn't have been that many.
what's that?
What was the yield on that?
Those I think we had about 2,500 on those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're very low yields. The most we've ever done is 3,800 bottles.
Oh,
And
okay.
I think maybe the last 2 we're tasting, which is the American 14 and the American 15. Those are very large batches for me. They were a 20 barrel batch and a 22 barrel batch.
So is there a particular time of the year people kind of expected to get out in the market, or what is your time frame, or do you?
Well, about every 2 months we try to release a new product to our distributors.
Okay.
And then we also release to our club. We have a club down on First and Market in Louisville, upstairs. We have 240 members right now. We have a 400 wait list that we're trying to work through, because we are adding upstairs to that with 400 new lockers.
Is that the one next to Justin's?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's where we're.
So we noticed that. So that's now back up and running.
Yes, it is. And Brian Booth is in charge. And if people are interested, they can always reach out on the website and say they're interested in becoming a member.
Okay.
It's a $1,200 a year. You get to come and visit. You have we promise you at least 6 bottles of whiskey that you buy. But a year, hopefully we will have one every month.
Right. Nice.
And there'll be different, expressions over the ones we do for the national.
Right.
And we also offer some of the national releases to the club members also, so that they get almost everything we produce.
Wow. No, that's a nice. I knew that. I always heard that the wait list is pretty long.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things. Like it's almost like just a fascination. People want to get on the wait list. It's almost like I never found out. I never knew anybody that was actually in the club.
I know one
People
person.
that was on the wait list.
I know one person. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty prestigious.
Hello, sir. How you doing? Nice to see you. We're drinking some good whiskey today. I hope not. Let me know if I do.
Oh boy.
So again, we're here live from Joe's Over the Dirt Bar and Grill here in Louisville, Kentucky. We're going to be doing. We're going to step out of the way at 2 o'clock. We're going to let Mark and the Bid Bourbon Club take over, and then we're going to watch their taste.
Yes, and we'll get Steve over here in a second.
Yeah,
Talk a
Steve
little
will
bit
be over here in
about
a second to talk about he's doing some audio stuff over there. But we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure.
It's been a great pleasure.
And love to show you the club sometime. So.
Oh, we'd love to do a tour.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you're around, anytime you come to Louisville, reach out to Brian Booth and maybe you can set up something over there.
So let me ask you, so you've been around for a while. What do you think with the current industry, what things are going now versus, I mean, obviously the COVID boom is over. Where do you think bourbon's heading nowadays?
Well, I think it's always going to be around, and we're pretty excited about the next chapter with bourbon as an industry. There is a lot of barrels out there, and for a long time I wasn't able to get the barrels I would love to have.
Yeah.
So now people are coming to us and offering us barrels, and they're much more reasonable than they used to.
So you find that different rather than you going to them, they're now coming to you. So you can the tide kind of turn.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd ask when I first started, I was asking everybody for Kentucky bourbon and whiskey, and nobody would call me back.
You want to get on? You want to say hello?
Yeah.
You got a mic for him? Let's mic him up.
Yeah, here you go. Pop that on there.
All right, let me do something first. Watch what you say. You hit the mic with it.
Mike's live.
It's live.
We're not
Exciting times.
Yeah, no kidding. So, people are worried about as far as the bourbon on the decline. I would say that if you take out the COVID years, the trajectory is still growing.
Yeah, that was really a boom era. Everybody was home. They were drinking. They were talking about bourbon and serving. All those things really help the industry, but you can't maintain that.
Right, right. And ebbs and flows. I don't think it's going to be like the '90s where it was.
No, people always. I think there's enough people where we definitely have the next 15 years to look forward to. A lot of people jumped into it that may not be here. There'll be something of different small craft distilleries, I believe. But look, legacy folks, they'll be fine. They just won't be making the profits they used to make. But it's just a little bump in the road, in my estimation.
I think probably the more advantages the small guys would really have, because they're able to pivot a lot quicker than some of the big boys. So I think they may not be as effective, but there's definitely going to be a change. Like you said, there's going to be a thinning of it. But, I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
Too many, wonderful groups like Bid Bourbon Club. People are still just learning about bourbon.
Right.
And you guys are are helping that.
Right.
Getting exposure for the small craft distillers.
Right.
So one thing we learned, we obviously interview other people, other distillers, all that kind of stuff. The one thing that we learned pretty quickly, Jeff and I, is that a lot of you guys aren't really in competition with each other. If anything, you guys help each other out quite a bit.
We really do. We have a lot of friendships because we're all in it together, and basically, if you do good, all of the ships will rise.
Sure.
Don't be small. Don't put other people down.
Right.
Say good things.
I imagine your relationship has helped along the way with even your brand itself, right?
Yes, absolutely. Lots of great new friends and all that.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying to get Steve on here.
It is a great community.
I'm going to give up my seat to Steve, and you can talk to Steve, and
All right, very good. I appreciate
catch you
your time.
guys later. Learning about old Carter whiskey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
You might want to hold on to that because you're going to be on there later with
Well,
us.
it's still live.
Oh.
You might want to here. I'll take it back. So we're waiting for Steve, and he's going to explain the Bid Bourbon Club. We rolled that intro earlier as far as who they are. He can kind of explain to them as far as how you guys get involved.
Yeah.
As far as the members, the app that they have,
Right.
things of that nature. We'll
Yeah.
get them set down here.
Yeah, the
There's a
advantage
lot
of
of meet and greets going on. Right
There
now.
is a lot. The advantage of the Big Bourbon Club area is
There we go. On cue.
Steve Higdon,
So
pop her on there.
So we're explaining to people.
Huh? Yep, right there on camera.
So we're explaining to people at home as far as the Big Bourbon Club. There's some cross sections here, but for those who aren't in the Bourbon Club, once you tell people at home who you guys are, what you guys are all about.
Yeah, Bid Bourbon Club. This is our 5th anniversary year, so we've been doing it for a while. We've got 6,200 members around the country and the world. We have 17 countries represented. We have an app where people, because everybody lives all over the place, not just here in Louisville, but they communicate, and we get about 800 engagements every day on the app. But the club is pretty simple. It's about fun. The way that I kind of tripped into this thing, the focus was all about trying to educate people about bourbon that otherwise may not have had the type of access that I've had being my age and being from Louisville, Kentucky, and knowing people in the business. So it's about education, it's about fun, and we have a free membership and we have premium membership. So it's, you get what you pay for, and
It'll get you events like this that you guys are having today, right?
yeah.
As far as on premium membership, you guys get invited and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You need to go.
No. So I'm sorry.
No, I guess.
I'm trying to run a show with 100 people, so I'm sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I know we got to go on at 2:00 anyway.
No, we're good.
But anyways, as far as like the Big Bourbon Club, you guys have barrel picks. You guys are very famous for. Explain that and everything else goes on.
Yeah, I mean, the barrel picks are a little bit different today than they were. We've done probably 40 or 45 barrel picks. What we try to do from the education standpoint is we try to do distillery tastings, or in this case, Old Carter brand tastings, bring members in live. We've got people from probably 12 states here that flew in for this event.
Yeah.
And the reason, because we call it a reunion event, but we always do one in the summer when it's easier for people to take off a couple of days versus we traditionally do them on Tuesday night. We've done over 40 picks, and we sell those only to the club members. And we try to explore. I like the word explore because I mean it that way. We'd like to explore new things, different things.
Okay.
We're not just doing the same old love Knot Creek.
Right.
But it's just not about Jim Beam. It's about every distillery, and we've been to distilleries in multiple states, probably 15 states.
Okay.
We've tried things we love. We've tried new things we don't like, but we'd like to explore. And the people that invest their lives and money into making bourbon, they need a lot of support. They're small. Most of them are small businesses.
Right.
And, we love Buffalo Trace and the big ones, but we like to support the small guy and give him a shot. And then we talk about it and try to educate other people that may want to explore and try new stuff. See what you like. Everybody's different, right? We all know that.
Right.
And you never know what you're going to like. Even if you think you like something the same way all the time, you never know. And I know I'm 62 years old. My palate has changed several times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to work on Charlie with his American single malts.
Oh, Jesus. Dude, I'm done. Single
Are you
malt?
liking them?
No.
I don't,
Okay, all right.
it's kind of like
I can't do it. I tried.
it's kind of, I don't explore that way. I mean, I don't like that. I do like a lot of rye whiskeys that I didn't like, that I didn't drink 5 years ago.
Right.
And again, it's only because I tried it. I hadn't tried it before then.
Yeah.
But I don't swing that way.
No, I don't either, man. I tried.
American malt whiskey.
Oh, my God. It is horrible.
We tried.
I tried. I think I'm done. I think I'm
Charlie, everybody's got character flaws, Jeff.
Yes. Thank you very much. That's going to be a sound bite.
Appreciate that.
Everybody has character flaws.
So one thing I do like about your guys' app is it shows within the community who you are nearby, and then you can connect locally.
That's right.
Within the Big Bourbon Club.
That's right.
That's pretty cool.
Well, it's very cool. And so you're going to hear what I talk about when I kick this thing off. But as I said, we've got people in from 12 different, 13, 14 states.
Okay.
People flew in from Utah for this, from Florida, from, I think, California, from Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York. These are people that belong to a virtual bourbon club that take the time and make the investment to come because they become friends, which is an accident of this club. I had no vision or forethought of what it was going to become. But what it's become is a lot of really cool people who become genuine friends and will be forever.
Yeah, exactly. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to let you set up, and we're going to let this whole thing set up. We're going to keep this running, guys. We'll be in the chat. But
are you all going to edit all this?
We're going to.
Are you going to edit this tape?
We're live.
We're live.
Oh, shit.
We're live, baby.
We're live, baby. So we're going to continue this run, and we're going to.
So let's start this all over again.
And then we're going to let you guys, we'll simulcast through you guys as far as we you guys got going on today, and then just give you a preview as far as what you guys.
All right, so you're going to simulcast to the Bid Bourbon Club Facebook page.
Yeah, we got to get you got to give us access.
I'll do that right
we'll
now.
work on that now.
And then, so if you go to Bid Bourbon Club Facebook page, you'll see this live. You can ask questions on it. It'll be interactive. We'll be reading the questions and asking Mark and Booth, and should be fun.
All right, very good, guys.
Whitney, you ready?
We'll see you guys in about 15 minutes. We'll stay on, but you guys won't see much, but we'll probably mute. And then we'll be back on it in 15 minutes.
Yeah, there might be a quick pause until we go to link up to your Facebook page. So we'll get it all going.
All right, thank you.
Cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Charlie, thank you all. I was joking about the character.
It's all right.
You go ahead and take those out and run them apart. And what we're going to do is we will, not always, but typically we will pour one expression at a time, talk about it, learn about it, enjoy it, and then we'll go to the next, okay? We encourage a lot of questions. We encourage a lot of fun. We also appreciate Bourbon and Balls, and that's with a Z, meaning sports. Live streaming here. Well, that wasn't meant to be funny. But anyway, they're live streaming to their podcast. We appreciate that very much. And that's about it. Okay. All right, we're going to start on time at 2 o'clock. Yeah.
So that'd be better on full hire.
No, that's good. It's great.
All right.
is that I had a lot of people across the world that somehow thought that I knew everything about bourbon, and I knew very little about it other than how to drink it because I've drank it my whole life. But suddenly I became a voice for people who wanted to learn about bourbon. And that's what the Big Bourbon Club was created for, was nothing more than to be able to transfer information on bourbon whiskey from Kentucky to people that wanted to learn. A lot of you all were, not you all necessarily, but a lot of people were true beginners of bourbon. They'd never had it, but they wanted to learn what it meant. And it's, as you know, it's a very complicated spirit. And so I thought the best way to do it was through live presentations like this, where you get to taste stuff and learn from the experts, certainly not me, but also we do a lot of virtual things because people live all over the world. And that's what this club's become, an app with 6,300 people, 800 engagements on average every day with the app. And it's probably taken 15 to 20 hours a week of my time for 5 years. And so, well, thank you. So really there's a season for everything in life, and things are going to change with the club because I can't commit that kind of time anymore. But I want the club to continue. I want it to be stronger than it's ever been. And I'm not going to step away completely, but I am going to step away a lot. And you've seen me gone for the last year. I haven't been doing the lives. I haven't posted one review on TikTok in a year. I'm not doing any of that stuff, and I'm going to do even less because it's not fair for me to spend that time doing this and not with other people that matter. So I appreciate Ben Gillette and Alejandro Triben, who we've been working on this for a couple of months on how to continue this thing where it doesn't lose any momentum, it only gets better without me spending 20 hours a week on it. And so that's what we're going to do. And if any of you all, and I know you all are the real OGs here, I mean, Big Bourbon Club is not me, it's you all, it's everybody, without a doubt. But if anybody has any interest in doing anything, it could be 5 minutes a week, it could be anything, making a post on the app, talk to Ben and talk to Alejandro. They have a great strategy. Tom Morrow's involved with that too, Tom, thank you. But they have a great strategy and a great way we're going to try to keep this thing going. The accident of this whole club has been the friendships that we've made. Friendship with people in the business like Booth, with Mark Carter, and with all of you members of the club. And some of you have gotten to know better than others, but I will tell you this, and I know it's true with you all, these friendships will last a lifetime, whether we shut down today or not. These are real friendships, very genuine, lifelong friendships that I could have never imagined would have happened on social media with a 57-year-old guy, but it did. So my ask of you is to continue to carry on with those friendships. Wherever you are, whoever you're with, continue on, because at the end of the day, life is short. This is not the reason we're here is to drink great bourbon. That's part of the journey. The reason we're here is for what happens after this life. Work towards that. And I'm going to pray for you all, and I want you to pray for me and my family, okay? I'm going to pray that we stay friends and we make bigger than ever without me being there. But I can't thank you all enough. I love all of you, and I thank you. I brought the shades in case you started crying. So anyway, with all the somber stuff, we're going to do a bottle giveaway at the end of this. So get your minds tuned up. It won't be history related. It'll be, well, I'll tell you later. But with no further ado, let me introduce a great friend. And he kind of reminds me of my son. I want to kick him in the ass every day, but I love him to death. But Brian Booth. Oh, and Brian brought his boss, Mark Carter, too. Mark Carter and Brian Booth of Oak Carter, thank you so much. Come on up, guys.
Steve, thank you very much. We love the Big Bourbon Club. You know, this is our second time to be here. It's been about 2.5 years. I don't know if any of you were at the last one we did. We saw a lot of you yesterday at the club, and we really have become great friends with Steve. And what a great job he does educating all the people in the club all over the country. And so this is a great exposure for Old Carter. We saw some of you yesterday at our club, at the Old Carter Club. which Brian is the curator of. And so if we're gonna, I don't know if they've got anything ready to pour or taste yet. So I don't know how many of you know most of the story of Old Carter and how it got started. You know, if raise your hands if you've heard this a few times, because I tell the story quite often. You know, whenever anybody asks me, how did you get in the bourbon business?
Before we do that, who who has not had Old Carter? Oh, nice. All right.
I love that.
That is
Thank
awesome.
you for the
Appreciate
love
that.
and
Yeah.
the support.
There you go. All right. More into the family.
And Mandy, we love you too over there. I saw your hand go up back there.
Now we'll change that today. We've got 4 expressions, and one of them is the first release we ever did. And we don't really have a lot of bourbon sitting around or rye. It's all sold, so we had to dig real deep to get enough whiskey and to pour today. But to kind of start the story, I was into wine for the last 25 years. I have a winery in Napa Valley. Before that, I actually started a small hotel and restaurant up in Humboldt County. There's the Carter House Inns is my hotel and restaurant. So I was in charge of the wine program there and buying spirits. I got carried away with the wine program, and I pretty soon had about 3,800 wines in my wine list. And yeah, it's crazy. I guess I didn't have much to do up in Eureka, you know. So I bought a lot of wine, and hoping that Wine Spectator would notice us and give us the grand award, which there is only 100 in the world. And so actually we were able to get the grand award in '98, and we've had one ever since. But I got tired of buying wine from other people. I met everybody in Napa. And so one of my friends, he said he'd make wine for me in '98. So we looked for some vineyards, and we were fortunate enough to find some great vineyards. It was a good time to find these vineyards because you can't get grapes from the vineyards anymore. One of the vineyards we have is basically, it's called the Tokelon Vineyard. It's right next to Robert Mondavi. And it was featured on Wine Spectator's cover a few months back as one of the greatest vineyards in the world. So right place, right time, and a little luck going along with that. I got on that vineyard. And since we've been on that vineyard, we've actually produced, which is really hard to do. We have 31 100-point wines from 5 different critics. Robert Parker was the first to give us 100 points for a wine we made in 2002. We make mostly Cabernet there. And but when we first bought the winery, which was in '06, with my original winemaker, Nils Vinge, who was the first guy to get 100 points in America from Robert Parker. We weren't making any money at the winery. We were losing quite a bit every month. So we thought we better figure out something. We started making wine for other people. We were a custom crush facility, and that went pretty well. And since I had been an innkeeper for already about 20 years, I asked all my innkeeping friends in America, and I said, I can make wine for you. Only one person out of the 400 stepped forward and said, yeah, I would love to have some wine for my cabin, and he happened to be in Kentucky, and his name was Dixon Dedman. So I said, Dixon, we could do that for you, but your dad told me his story. You used to make bourbon in your family. And I said, why don't we bring your brand back? And this is in 2012. We bring back the brand Kentucky Owl. That was their family brand. And it took off like a rocket. And we only had it till actually 2017 it sold to Stoli Vodka. And we really didn't want to quit with our bourbon and coming to Kentucky and making bourbon. So the next day after it sold, we started Old Carter Whiskey Company. And so that was in 2017. Our first release was actually in 18, and we released one of the first on the lineup, this rye batch 2
Can you do it in less than
and
2
rye
minutes?
batch 1.
Perfect.
So those both came out at the same time. So we couldn't make up our mind which one we wanted to release and which one was the best. And so we actually talked to a few of our friends, all the bartenders. We showed them all 1 and 2, and it was always a split decision which one they liked best. And so actually JP over at Justin's House of Bourbon, he was the one that said, "Why don't you release both at the same time?" And we hadn't thought about that, and so that ended up happening, and that took off. So we're gonna have one of those today, and that's from our library.
So the first one we got here should have been, in my opinion, whiskey of the year in 2023. So we got bourbon 15 here, all double oaks, right? Or double barrel, sorry.
Yeah.
Double barrel. Yeah.
There is a distinction, and we told a lot of people that yesterday. We don't double oak, we double barrel, which we use a brand new barrel every time we put it in. So it's always bourbon. There's some, the single barrel or whatever, there's a lot of discussion about if how you finish it. But we use a new barrel every time.
We use charge 2, 3, 4, and 5, 3 different cooperages, and with toasted heads on those as well. So that's what kind of elevates us, above the rest there. Plus, Mark, he tickles that whiskey really well too, so that doesn't hurt either.
So I'm a blender. I'm not really a distiller. We do distill. We have our own mash bills, and we distill out in Frankfurt. We've been doing that since 2017. So we have our own make that is 8 years old now. We have not used that. The youngest thing we've ever used in a blend is 7 years old. Most everything is higher than that.
Yeah, so the first one here, Bourbon Batch 15. Now this is an Indiana bourbon. How many barrels went into this one?
This was a 15 barrel blend.
Yeah, one of our little higher ones there. So cheers, everybody. Yeah. As Mark would say, this is delicious.
That's my best tasting note. As I always say, people come up with wonderful flowery tasting notes, and it's either good or bad, really, when you get right down to it. You guys all know that.
That's the truth.
So we think this is good. This is the only actually bourbon that we have totally double barreled, except for a barrel batch 5. That was the other one we did.
Yeah, and we got a New Jersey, New York, that VSB 3.
That's correct.
Yeah, that was all double barrel as well. So.
Years in the second barrel.
Say again?
How many years in the second barrel?
It can be anything from about 6 months at this point to 2.5 to 3 years.
We actually did a double barrel, single barrel. Yeah.
Yeah, we just did that.
That was for the club.
It's for the club.
Yeah. That's interesting.
So what do you all think about this one?
117, I believe. Yeah, 117. So all of our products is always barrel proof. Always barrel proof and non-chill filtered. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We source from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana.
We will be bringing over some of that new make that's 8 years old now, and I will start tasting through those barrels and see if it's ready and if I can start using that.
We got a 5 grain that is incredible out of that distillery in there. That's really good.
Would anybody volunteer for the tasting team? Oh, you didn't ask, but just in case you need it.
Good to know. Good to know.
Notes,
Great to know. Yep.
You start following your own. Will that be a single barrel? Will it be a blend, or will you blend it with other distilleries?
It will always, well, not going to always be a blend, but it will be mostly blended.
Yeah. We don't do really single barrels. We try to stay away completely because we don't do enough of anything, and we would just make a lot of enemies that way. So the only single barrels that ever come out go into the club and have been for since we started.
Yeah. This guy back here had a question right there. Yeah, well, you really can't find our products.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you so much.
Anytime you find one out in the wild, if you don't want it, just call me and
Yeah.
I'll give you my credit card. I'll buy that because I don't have any.
Yeah, he has to buy his own juice from secondary. Yeah, what's up? This guy. What now?
As long as it's not over $300, I'll buy anything I can find.
Yeah, this guy. Two corns.
Yeah, a white and yellow corn.
Yep.
Question. Someone online is asking, you guys do barrel picks. I don't think you guys
We do
correct?
not do barrel.
Okay.
We do not. Yeah.
All, like you said, all the single barrels that come out of Old Carter are funneled through the exclusive member club is what we do.
And we've kind of released, we did do a few for some of the distributors early on, but we only had 100 of these wonderful Kentucky straight, which we bought at 12 years old back in 2018. And so they're getting close to almost 20 years old, Kentucky straight. And so those we use 60 of them. We got 40 left.
Yeah, we got to be careful with those. We got to ration those out.
How do you take some, like a little bit of that and then some
We really haven't touched that material on those higher ends. We're just kind of keeping it in those barrels and waiting for the right time to funnel them through. Yeah.
will you ever take it out of the barrel and vat it? So that
Thanks for coming.
Yes, that's, I have to taste the 40 barrels that are left and see how they're doing. Sometimes the bourbon can get old.
Yeah.
Too old for me.
Thank you.
So,
Yes, sir.
Don't quit on me. Yeah, I'm Steve Higdon.
quite a few of them. The one I just worked on, which is a brand new release that some of the folks saw yesterday, which is going to be for North Carolina.
NC1.
That actually has a 21% rye, so high rye, bourbon mash bill. So it has 2 barrels in there. So I will use, as long as it comes from the same state, so we keep saying it is straight, bourbon from wherever it's Indiana or Kentucky.
Yeah, so we blend the 99 ones along with different mash bills from the same state, things like that. So, yeah. Yep.
Relative, some of these people have so relative to me. So I went to had a drink. I went to get another drink, but I smelled it first. It smells more fantastic.
There's nothing like a glass that has been seasoned and you're smelling the American whiskey, even and when we do that one. The glass, you could just have a wonderful time actually nosing the glass for a long time. That's a great thing about the bourbons that we do.
So that's why we always barrel proof. Why? Because it opens up, it oxidizes. You can add water to it. You don't have to add water to it. You enjoy it how you want to, but that's what happens. It opens up with that air just over time. It really is a special thing.
A lot of people always say it doesn't change at all, after you open it up. We really don't believe that. We believe it does change. Just like wine, it opens up new air on it, really makes it for a better experience. And what we were saying about, we've never added water to any of the products that we've made. It's always been barrel proof. In fact, if I ever decide to put some water in myself, this guy right here, Brian Bogle, is going to quit.
Yeah. Nope. You do not add water to Old Carter. Not, at least not into the bottle.
Yeah.
Okay?
But you can do anything
You can do anything you want to with it.
You make cocktails out of it.
Yep.
Drink it how you like it.
Yeah. No one should tell you how you should do your whiskey.
There is no wrong answer.
There is no wrong answer. All right, Ben had a question. Oh, that's tough.
Well, I think the future's bright. There a lot of people jumped into the business. There'll be some contraction of the amounts of brands that will be there. But if everybody did what not a lot of overhead, not a lot of borrowed money, or if they expanded too fast, they'll still all be here, I believe. And for us, it's a great time for us because we've seen barrel prices come down, and that helps. And we haven't raised our price since we actually started in 2018 to the distributors. That's what, if you see anything, they should still be about 200 to 225 is what the retail should be. But once it goes into anybody's place, and the retailers, they can charge what they want to charge. We have no control on that. But we see a bright future for Old Carter because the cost of the barrels have come down, so we can keep our price where it was, and we still have a good margin. We can make a profit, and we'll be around.
I think we're insulated too, just for the fact that we do things that very few people are doing. With the different barreling and really refining that whiskey to something that's really cherished and a higher echelon. Because I've got people coming to me all the time when I'm tired of chasing, I'm tired of doing this. I like Old Carter. This is what I want to drink. So I think we've insulated ourselves by becoming a legacy, quote unquote, a legacy distillery already. So you've got that lower prices coming down in barrels, which is awesome. Then you've got just on top of our magnificent lineup of all of our SKUs. And then our followers are just incredible. Thank you guys.
Yes.
First and foremost, thank everybody. Thank you out there in the interweb world and things like that. So no, we really appreciate it because you all make our day every day. So thank you. Yep.
Continue to source that you're doing right now.
So that,
yeah. Well, one of the things when we actually started, even Kentucky Owl, we knew we could never make the product exactly the same each time. We treat it like it was wine, and it was like each vineyard and vintage. So those things, as long as in that is that richness, that depth, that length, long finish, that sweetness, that you can tell when we blended it, that you're tasting an Old Carter, product. That's what we shoot for, and they're all a little different, but you should find, man, when you taste it, that's Old Carter. That's all we're really looking for.
So what Mark will do, like he's tasting through 88 barrels right now. All right, I've tasted through some of them. Christy's tasted through some of them. So he goes through 88 barrels, writes down tasting notes on them. Then he will go and blend a base, and then he'll just start tickling it. And that's what he does. He does it really well. Tickle that whiskey, man. That's what we do. But we also it goes back to the different cooperages and how we utilize that through 2, 3, 4, and 5 char, right? Because that gives us a bigger spice rack of what he can taste through and then create something really nice. That's what a lot of other distilleries and NDPs, really can't utilize because of the high overhead and all this money they're having to make back. We put
producers that are started out basically just dump the barrels to make a blend.
Yeah, so I have a saying at Old Carter, because we can. Why'd you do that? Because we can. I thought you guys would come out with a bourbon, come out of the rye. Yeah, because we can. The rye was better. Let's go.
Word.
Yeah. Word, yo. Yeah.
Word.
I was talking about, as he said there, Mark, about stuffing the barrel. Have you guys ever thought about using half of a barrel in one batch?
We actually did that at the very beginning when we were bottling out in Bardstown. We have our own facility now, but we were at 2 different places. We actually, some of the labels you'll see at the very beginning will say actually Bardstown on the front, bottled in Bardstown. Then you'll see some that say bottled in Frankfurt, and then now it's always says Louisville. And so those were all ones that we did. But when you dump a portion of that barrel, then what do you do with the rest of it? You sit there on it, almost too hard. So you taste the barrel. We know how much is in that barrel, and we know what the blend's going to taste like exactly. A lot of people don't even know how much is in the barrel when they dump the barrel, and so they don't even know what that the finished product's going to taste like. I know pretty much what that's going to taste like because I've already put it together with the amounts and the ratios. So when we have it all filled into a tote, because we'll dump it into a tote and then we'll bring it over to the bottling line and we hook it up to the bottling line and we fill the bottles. And so, we keep some from the original blend that I did, and then we'll taste the tote to make sure it tastes exactly the same.
All right, I think everybody has the second one. So you guys are tasting, like you said, I had to go treasure hunting there yesterday for some bottles for today. So so batch 2, this is one of the first of 2 that came out in 2018, the very first. So you guys are tasting something extraordinarily special. So this would be 99.5 Indiana.
Yes.
Rye. So this would be a rye, 99.5.
With a portion of it being double barrel.
Yeah, like I said, like he said, every one of our renditions have some sort of double barreling aspect to them.
All right, everybody, raise your hand if you like rye whiskey. You prefer it over if you prefer it over bourbon most of the time. So some of you prefer it. So raise your hand if you like rye whiskey. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, we love rye. I love playing with rye. And last year, we received 100 points on batch 12 rye. So I think we're the first people to receive 100 points on our rye, and any rye in America, and also 100 points on a wine. And that was on my birthday. It was a great birthday present. I got a phone call, and they said, "Oh, you got 100 points on your whiskeys now."
That's beautiful. Yep, Mark.
Mark, since you're sourcing these, would you mind sharing your philosophy and the time it takes you to choose barrel?
Well,
you're willing to share.
it's we'll answer almost any question all the time. We're an open book, truly, because at the end of the day, it's our palate that that's what we're working towards. So whatever product we get, we try to make it, like I said, that richness, that depth, that balance. So I'll get samples from a lot of different brokers. And they bring them by. I taste them. If I like them, I said, yeah, let's get that. And the price is right. That's amazing. I think I do something really well with that. But we've rejected a lot of things that we've tasted, and it's musty, or yeah, something like that.
Honduras.
That is correct.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Mark. So we source from different brokerages, not just actual distilleries. So a brokerage will have many different distilleries underneath their repertoire, and what they have barrel-wise from Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, all those places. So we just acquire barrels from them. And Mark said it best. He goes, if it's a good barrel, I can make it better. Yeah, and that's what we do because of all of our processes. The double barreling, tasting through each one, blending them. It takes a lot of time to do this. This is not something you do in a day, 2 days. This is a 2 to 3 week process. And that's what we do. That's how we do it. And a lot of people don't have time. When I say people, a lot of distilleries and NDPs don't have that time to sit there and meticulously go through all that. They have to put out a bottle now, not us.
And what Brian's saying, the blending may take 3 weeks, but we've started this process maybe as much as 3 years ago on the double barreling. So, and even that, some of those barrels. So that's why we have a lot of different things to choose from, because as you're tasting, you'll get a wow moment when you're tasting through these barrels. You go, oh my God, it's amazing. That is a single barrel. That's for the club.
That's what happened last week.
Yeah,
absolutely. 11-year-old. Yeah, true. 11-year-old whiskey. Really nice.
One last question, I'll shut up.
No, we
no question. Guys,
we do.
Please.
We love it.
Can I interpret that? That means 5 more questions only.
We love questions.
Mark, what do you see as the sweet spot in age?
Well, there really isn't one. You got to taste this barrel, but I'll tell you, 7 to 9 years is pretty nice to work with. When we first started Kentucky Out, Jimmy Rutledge came over and, he tasted our little blends. First we tried to do some single barrels and he kind of, didn't say anything. We did 3 of those and then we actually put a blend together and he tasted that. And he goes, now you're talking, you got something there, And then he goes, what are you going to cut this to? Cut it to. He said, you can make more money if you put water in it. I said, we don't care about making money. We want to make some friends. And that's our belief.
Okay, hold on, Ben. This guy right here.
We do that.
Yeah.
We do that
For
already.
sure.
In fact, you'll see some of that in the next 2 renditions.
So the last 2 are really cool. All right. I mean, it is some of the coolest stuff we've made yet. These blends on the last 2 are really cool. So we're wanting to do something with that. Ben, what's your question there, sir?
I'm sorry. What year?
What do you do to choose? You talked about
It was in 2008 because it was when I was at the chamber and I left no file.
how do you decide?
So we look at inventory like, oh, we need more bourbon.
I think it was
Oh, we need more rye. Oh, we need more this. And so we go to our brokerages and we order that and then taste them.
But you're asking about the barrel itself.
Believe it
So
or not.
we do, I love space side barrels. People ask me that all the time. That's what I kind of got started with. Besides ISC, we used those originally with Kentucky Out. Those are barrels we could get because I was buying back then. In 2012, you couldn't get a barrel. There was a barrel shortage. But since I'd been buying for the winery for 20 years, I had relationships, and a lot of the people that make wine barrels out of Frencho own the cooperages out here too. So I was able to get barrels and re-barrel. So I had ISC barrels to begin with. We use those today still. But then I found a space side barrel, which I really like them. And they have a 36-month air dry stays, which if you can get a 36-month air dried barrel, you end up having a much sweeter barrel and no green notes in it. And you will get green notes out of an 8-month barrel. And I told everybody that. Now everybody is buying 36-month air dried, and I can't get them. I'm now down at 24 months.
So before we go with number 3, everybody raise your hand if you don't have a number 3 right now. Okay. Well, all right. Sorry. I've got mine. I just didn't know. So before we start tasting on 3, let everybody have one. All right. Before we start tasting on 3, make sure everybody has one because we're going to do. So 3 and 4 are the exact same mash bill. All right. The proof in difference is just 1/10 of a proof. So pretty much the same proof at 134. Yeah. The first one's 134.3. The other one's 134.2.
Yeah.
So same mash bill, same distillery, literally almost the same proof on that as well.
And I usually blow this at the, when he does the tasting at the club. So I'll be quiet for a few minutes while he gets to let you taste things and then we'll talk about them.
Yeah, what I want you to do is take some mental notes on 3. All right, take mental notes as you're sipping it.
And
because
we can let them know this is 14. It's
batch 14.
14.
Batch 14.
I can't tell you too much, otherwise I get in trouble.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So get mental notes on 14, and then we're gonna go to 15, and then I want you all. We will take a poll on which one you like, and then we're gonna talk about each one of these individually. There. Yes, sir.
Asking, do you bring any wine making techniques into your bourbon blending practices?
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that came at the very beginning because we were one of the first to double barrel our stuff. Only Woodford, they turned out their batch before us. They only kept it in the barrel for less than 6 months. We kept it in the barrel for almost 3 years before we turned ours out. Yeah.
You got 15 jars? Okay, cool. That's all right. Yep. All right. Hopefully. No, you guys got 14.
Okay, yeah.
All right, well, 14's done, so. So anyway.
What's on the table? Do we know?
There's 15 back there. There's 3 15s. So I don't know how she has the 15. Those are all 14s. Okay.
It'll stay down at the bottom of the batch 14 or 15.
14. Okay. All right.
All right, so don't send me here yet. Don't send us for yet.
My winery is Carter Cellars. I'm really original when it comes to naming things. My inn and hotel is the Carter House. So Carter Cellars is the wine brand, and Indy Winery is what I own with Mills Vindy. We own half and half of that. It's in Calistoga, very north part of Napa Valley. And then my hotel and restaurants in Eureka, California, where I was actually born, even though my grandmother was, from Somerset, Kentucky. Yeah.
You a 606er? Hell yeah. 606ers, baby.
Yeah.
I'm from Willie County. Willie County.
Yeah.
Yes. Anybody else 606ers in here? Yeah, there it is.
Born from the soul, Somerset.
You a 606er? 270. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Last
you Western Kentucky people. Still poppers. Yeah, you want the Central Westerns. It's all the same. Let's go, Pickett. Let's go. Oh. I'm sorry.
On the rye.
113 even on that
And
rye.
somebody asked yesterday, the lowest proof we've ever done is actually 104, and that was on a collaboration with Parstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah, but what about straight though? What's our lowest, Is it the 110?
Our own is 106, and it is on batch 6 bourbon,
Okay.
which was a lot of old Dickel in that, which, that's a story in itself.
We do a lot of things.
Whiskey, bourbon, for us,
Oh yeah. So, well, to do that, we got to contrast our bourbon and our American whiskey, because our bourbon and American whiskey are different than everybody else. So that's a great question, but you got to understand this is not an overall, because American whiskey could be anything that's not a bourbon can be called American whiskey. Let's define that first, right?
And even bourbon's American whiskey.
Yeah, bourbon is American whiskey. Is it from America? Yep. Is it whiskey? Yep. All right. So we got to define that, right? So we got to define our American whiskey. Our American whiskey is 99.1. Our American whiskey is 99% corn, 1% malt and barley out of Indiana as of right now. And I don't think we're going to probably deviate from that
I love
anytime
the product.
soon. Yeah.
It's, both, we want to say Eastern Kentucky, whatever, but we like high corn, more corn, the sweeter the mash bill is for us, it seems like. So it's just something in our DNA.
So now let's contrast that to our bourbon. Now, some of our bourbon is a 99.1 bourbon from Indiana, right? So what deviates from that, correct? So more than likely, it went into a used barrel. That's, that light whiskey, right? And it might have went in at over 125 proof, because 125 proof or less is what is needed for bourbon. So it went into a used barrel. It probably went in over 125 proof. We can discern that from the actual proof on the bottle.
And another thing, sometimes if it's distilled over 190, but I don't think any of these really are.
No. Nothing's over
way
160.
too much flavor
Yeah.
to be distilled over 100.
160, 190, yeah. So yeah, definitely coming off the still at less than 160. It's 160 proof or less for sure. So Mark, does that answer your question? Kind of, sort of. So
Right.
our whiskeys, our American whiskeys are going to be, higher proof most of the time than our bourbon. Okay, they're going to have a discernible distinction from each other. I mean, you guys tasted one and you're about to take 14 and 15 right now, American whiskeys. So you decide that for yourself. I'm not here to tell you what you should taste. All right. I'm here to tell you the foundation of it and have you tell me what you like and why you like it, why you don't like it, and why you enjoy it. That's what this is supposed to be. I'm not up here to tell you what you should taste. No one should. All right. Don't go paying for somebody to tell you what you should taste. So that's garbage. Yeah. Great question.
So yeah, we do a national release, and that's just a small batch. And we usually will do 2 of those these days, and they'll have to go to 3 if we take on more actual states or distilleries. Distributors. What ends up happening is there's not very much when we divide it by 9 different. It's only 3,800 bottles divided by 9. You're likely to get 200 bottles of each one of the batches. So that's one of the things. Either I would have to increase. These both are one's 20 barrels and the other one's 22 barrels. I'd have to go to maybe 30 barrels, and then the count would go up over. These are 3,300 bottles each. If I added a few more barrels, I might get up to 4,000. Maybe that's what I'll have to do. And that's a learning curve. The more barrels you use, I feel it's a little harder blending those, making something that tastes great. So I love the small batch that we do for each state, which is usually 3 to 5 barrels. So the very small batch are those, and the national releases are now about 20 barrels.
Can I borrow that?
Yeah.
And to that point, you don't want single barrels. You want a blend. You want an exclusive blend by him. That's the exclusivity of Old Carter. It's having his hands and his palate, his expertise on that juice. A barrel's great, and we can make a barrel taste better, right? But you want that exclusive blended. No one's doing that. So why would you want a single barrel? I mean, there's so much more flavor, so much more meticulous time and effort and crafted. That's what we bring. We bring crafted to the table, and he does that very well. Yeah, man. Cheers. Hey, cheers to the juice. Cheers to the juice. And here's why. It's bringing us all together. It's what Higdon's done.
Yeah.
That's what Mark's done. That's why you're here. So cheers yourself. Cheers to the juice. And cheers to longer live bourbon days.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Higdon.
Mr. Higdon. Sorry, Mr. Higdon.
We're going to, it's halftime. That's a sports analogy, halftime. All right, so let me take over real quick.
All right.
All right. Cool.
So a little bit of a story. It's unlike me, but in
I'm gonna
2005,
get you guys 2 more 15s because
I was
you were
leading
drinking
the effort
15
in Louisville
first.
to pass a smoking ban. We were like the 3rd major city in America to do it. It was way before it was the right thing to do in the public's perception. Chris Brown, my very close friend who owns this place, and most of you know Chris, was fighting. He was a leading opponent of the smoking ban when I'm leading the smoking ban. At the end of the day, I work with the Metro government, and been a very good Democrat, Jim King, and we collaborated together. We got it passed. And so ever since then, there has been a smoking ban in Louisville where you can't smoke inside where they're serving food. And so last night, Booth introduces me to Josh Pickett, and we went out to have a cigar, and there's a new cigar club, new for me. It's on back right in the heart of where all the cooler is, and whatnot. And so I'm walking, man, this is so cool. I didn't even know it was there. And I smoke cigars, and I'm kind of in tune to the scene. And I'm like, how do you smoke in here? He goes, well, I just led the effort to bring smoking back. I'm like, holy shit. And so anyway, he's got one of the coolest establishments that I've been to. And I mean that sincerely. Raise your hand if you went there last night for a cigar.
Yeah. Hey, he has an incredible humidor too.
Well, it's going to be time. Just introduce himself and what he's doing. So the next time you're in Louisville or if you live here, you go support him because it's really cool.
And I will be there tonight. So, yeah. Excellent cocktails. Excellent cocktails.
I'm going to keep it short. So if you were there last night, we appreciate your support and everything. So yes, we worked very hard to not flip the smoking ban, but to adjust the smoking ban. So the smoking ordinances have been changed in Louisville for cigar lounges. My lounge is not private, it's open to everybody. Lounges create stagnant atmosphere. That's how we're doing it. Different family, remember the Bourbon Mafia, so I completely understand, respect, and love everything you're doing. When you got choked up, I got choked up. I love what you're doing. Spirits is family. My place, Louis, our company, is, we call it Smoke Church. I don't care if you're legit. I don't care if you're never been there. We're going to curate an experience that you've never had. We are actually shooting commission recommended on cocktails the next 6 to 12 months. So the bar doesn't exist for us. You know, when you walked in, you knew immediately, you're like, hey, you need to be here. So I invite every one of you guys to come out. Come to the only non-private smoking establishment in Louisville, Kentucky. Just come out and support. We'll support you guys. I think we have 2 affiliates on staff tonight. You know, Booth, you'll be there. You know, I mean, that's your new home. You're like 4 minutes walk away from there. You know, Mark, come on out.
I will.
If I can find your stuff on secondary, I'll put on.
Well, you're going to get some bottles. You're going to get some
You
bottles.
don't have an extra bottle out here. You don't. So if that comes up missing, good drop it. So,
Yeah.
But Steve, I appreciate the invite. I appreciate everyone coming out. So our address is 925 Baxter Avenue. Be a little starting up. Come out, enjoy, hang out. You know, just enjoy the entire part of Kentucky. Tobacco, spirits, friendship, Smoke Church. If you got a question, Cody's raised your hand, who's been here, right? So awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Pinkett. Appreciate that. Yeah, you got a great establishment there. And I'm not just saying this because I can say it. I mean, people had their cocktails last night. They have one of the most extensive, most complex cocktail experiences in Louisville, if not the top tier. So if you had cocktails last night, you know, proof's in the pudding, you know? So way to go. Really, really appreciate, you know, helping the locals, helping experience Kentucky the way it should. Appreciate that, Pickett.
And I'm just sorry I wasn't there last night, but I'll be there tonight.
Yeah. Hey, Mark, what time you want to be there tonight?
I don't know, early. You know, we do that a lot. We can't actually do that since I am a salesman of, you know, we can bring samples and see if you like what we do. Maybe you can pick it up. We would love to be on your back bar. I'm serious. I love it.
There you go. He does have great whiskey, great fries, and excellent cocktails. So we'll be there tonight sometime.
Perfect. You tell me what time, just text me in.
All right.
All right. So anybody got any decisions on 14 and 15?
Hold on. We got
one more question.
We got 3 more questions. But you have a question. Yeah, man.
It just depends. I've probably already rebarreled it by that time. And then I put it in a tote when I'm blending. Yeah. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hold on. That guy.
Are you teaching this with someone?
Well, we kind of keep it secret a little bit, you know, when we're blending and tasting, you know. I don't want anybody to take my job yet.
There's some select people.
But we do, you know, I have to have people around me that I do trust their palates. And we do a blind tasting after I've blended several different, actually batches. And well, if they come out with a blind taste and it's exactly what the one I like too, then it just says, okay, this is ready for release, because we're all agreeing this is the best of 4 that I've really worked on for a month.
So yeah, there's some select people. You had a question.
Oh, no. We're trying to get away from.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So we know 14 and 15 have been poured.
Cool.
Everybody knows. All right, it's being poured, but we know what 14 is. We know what 15.
Very cool.
Tell them what you want to do first.
Well, we're going to do 14 first. Okay. Yeah. So if everybody's at 14, we can do that. But question.
So great for me if you haven't been served. That's the 15. That's the last one.
That's the last
Well,
one.
we can go with 14.
Yeah, we can go with 14. I want to hear this guy's question first, and we'll get into the sipping. What, did you hear that?
Yeah, I have some barrels right now that I'm sitting on that I know I can't improve on. And either we're going to redistill, we don't know what to do with them. We tried everything to fix these, and I haven't been, actually fortunate enough to be able to do that. There's 4. It was a rye from a distiller in Kentucky, and it just had a mustiness to it. And I tried to do some like finishings on it, and it just sitting there, and it's really not drinkable.
So we will never, ever, ever use a barrel that if it's our repertoire that we do not enjoy. All right, that's collateral damage. We see that as it that way. We do not want to put that in the juice.
We'll probably redistill it is what we'll do, just because it will clean up everything there. Hopefully on the and we do have to run 600 gallons a year for our stills.
Sanitizer. All right, let's do the sipping now. So everybody got 14, yeah? All right. So 14, batch 14, American.
Yeah.
99% corn, 1% malted barley. We're at proof on 134.3. 134.3. So both from Indiana, 99.1, our American, batch 14. So sip on this, and then take your mental notes about it. We'll sip on 14, and then we'll talk about it.
Which one's
14.
okay? Well,
Maybe a little extra.
thank you. You got one, right?
I think so, yeah. Yep.
14.
Yep.
Last.
Yep.
Mm.
It's a creamy narrative. Yeah.
So when we do these blends, a lot of times I like to try to do 2 different styles. Maybe one's a little more creamy, maybe one's a little bit more depth and richness, and a little bit more
tannins.
a little more structure.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see that when you taste the 2 of them. And that I do that purposely because not everybody's palate's the same. And every time we show these, usually it's a 50-50 split, just like the original ryes that we did batch 1 and 2.
We got a question.
All right.
From a chemist's point of view, is 14, 15 the same chemical composition?
Yes, 99.1. Now, I can't say that. When it comes to the mash bill, yes. But other things play into it when you talk about chemistry.
That barrel and which barrels they are, what chars they are.
That goes into the chemistry. Yeah.
All that sugars,
So
different sugars that will be, in
different chars,
to those
all that.
distillates.
Yep. Different years, things like that. Yeah, man.
I'm sure it's yellow.
Yeah, I went to see why it wouldn't be yellow.
Products, so, yeah.
Indiana. Yep.
So Mark, I know you're aware, like 8 years ago, we started having about 3 seasons in Kentucky where we're having spring. How excited are you that having 4 seasons again in your program with whiskeys?
Well, it's really interesting, and it's great to bottle in the winter in the cooler months. It really is sweeter. That's what I've learned doing this, dumping and blending for, I don't know, now almost 10 years, over 10 years, 11 years now. It really, all the guys have been doing it for years, the legacy brands, they know this, they knew this, but we're just still learning this, and the winter months, all that goodness comes out of that barrel, out of those stays and back into the juice. When it's hot, it all goes out, and it can get really alcoholic very quickly.
And a little tannins too, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite month?
Well, I don't have one yet, but I'll let you know in a couple more years. It's a learning process.
That's why it's a hard question.
Yeah. But it's nice to be around that February, the cooler, March, it's still good. When it starts heating up, and we kind of realized this when we did that collaboration. With Bardstown Bourbon Company. I gave them 10 barrels of our Cabernet, empty barrels, and we did a beautiful blend. We put it in the rick house, and that rick house is so unique. It is the terroir of the bourbon. We use vineyards, but when you have that rick house and you're on the bottom floor, the middle floor, and that top floor, it's amazing. We put basically three in each one to begin with, divided up those 10 barrels. And it didn't take long. We kept it up there for 14 months before we actually bottled it. The ones on the top, in a very short period of time during that summer, got so warm that we lost all the flavor, and it was all ethanol. And we were like, it was really early on. We could see what was happening, and we told them to get them off the top floor and put them down either on the middle floor or down back on the bottom floors. Yeah. We got a little more proof because, like I said, we had Dickel that was like 15-year-old that was 98 proof, and that was barrel proof, never been cut. And so by the time we were done, we actually had gone up a little bit. We had 12-year-old Kentucky, and we had some 8-year or 6-year-old, I think it was, Indiana on that blend. And so it would have been almost underneath 100 proof, and it went up to basically 104. I think 104.
Talking about that, you brought that to close, the fog plant, leaving that out.
Oh yeah, it made it delicious again instead of just some alcohol
over method.
Yeah.
Question. Oh my God.
They love that.
Oh my God. So I wasn't going to say it. So I have a thing I do in the club. I call it the old swirl and blow.
Yeah.
So this has a lot of alcohol in it. So if you swirl it and blow on it, what we're doing is we're creating surface area as we're swirling it. And then when you blow on it, you're blowing off all those volatiles. And then after you do that, you can actually get a really sense of the actual whiskey. But yeah, I call it the old swirl and blow there. Where'd he go? I'm going to get a t-shirt called that. Yeah. Oh, that's a t-shirt right there.
What's that? A favorite barrel? There really isn't one until it's blended for us. The single barrels, we did 60 of them, and there's some great ones in there. But it's not just me. It's all of you tasting it, and deciding which ones you guys like.
All right. So we've all tasted 14, yes? All right. So we've got our little tasting notes on it. Yep. All right. So let's go on to batch 15 there. Thank you, Mr. Carter. Thank you, Ms. Christie. So let's taste that 15 now. Batch 15. Yep. The old swirl blow never fails. That's a tried and true process right there. Cheers, Mr. Carter. Cheers, buddy. Thank you.
So you guys all tasted both. You've got tasting notes in front of you on each one of these. That's what we like here, because we're going to ask questions about these.
Oh yeah. There's a quiz.
A little quiz. Yeah.
Whiskey quiz.
Two different camps here. They're both delicious, I think. I like them.
Yep. No. They're all great. Yeah. Well, I mean, and here's what I mean. Let me expand and derive that for a minute. And here's what I mean by that. It goes back to when Mark says, I can make a good barrel taste better, right? So when we put our process, the old Carter process to it, we can make anything great. It's just what comes out better than anything else. It's just like that single barrel that we tried. Yeah. That was
every once in a while we'll taste through those, like right now, those 88 barrels. I said, this one's so unique that this should be a single barrel for the club.
As soon as I taste that,
I said, hey, Booth, try this.
Yeah.
And he went like this, and it just blew out the glass for him. The aromatics. It was very flowery.
Bless you.
Great flower notes and and depth and richness. This is amazing.
So yeah, I mean, we get so much notes and richness out of all of our juice. Yeah, every time we taste through, it's a surprise. That's what I enjoy. If you want to know, here you go. You want to know what I enjoy about it? Every time we taste, it's something different. It's a new experience. And that's what we bring to you all, are these new experiences that we experience. That's what we want for you all. That's what we provide to everybody that loves us. Yeah, man.
I like both of them, but to me, 15, that year,
Yeah. Why? Oh, why? I mean, so we're getting some cannons out of it. So understand what we're tasting and how we're tasting it too, and we're going to go into that here in a minute.
Now, what we can do is just send you, because it's never fair to raise your hand. You need to almost write it down on a piece of paper, which one's your favorite, and just raise it up. Because we've done this a lot lately with the student releases.
So has everybody tried the 15? Does everybody have their discerning factors and questions and want to know things about the juice?
And then we will tell you after.
What's up, Mark?
So I think we should play Mark Carter. And determine which one he would pick. And we have to pick one of them and why.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I like that. All right. Yeah. Let's talk everybody. No.
That might take a while.
Yeah. All right. So which one? All right. We'll ask favorites and then get into it.
Yeah.
Who likes 14? Just raise your hand. All right. 15.
15.
Wow. Son. Wow. All right. A little. It's been about 50-50.
50-50. And Brian, we had a split decision ourselves.
I do.
He liked 14. I like 15.
I have to go back. I go back to 14 every time. You like the variety, but 14 is just a tried and true for me. It's really creamy. To me, 14 is really creamy.
Let's do this. Let's just take a quick vote. If number 1 was your favorite, raise your hand.
Now, out of the entire thing, which one was your favorite? Out of all 4, which one? We're going now down the line. That 15 bourbon's good. Like I said, it should have got whiskey of the year in 2023.
Number 2 is the rye.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So you all get to vote again on the 3 bourbons. So forget the rye, your favorite. If 14 is your favorite, if 15 was your favorite.
Yeah.
15 is the winner by a slow mark.
Yeah, it really is. Well, now can I actually give it all away? Because I always give it away.
Give it away. He always away.
Take me underneath the table when we're doing a table.
Give it away with some secrets.
So actually the 14, 50% of what you're tasting in the 14 is 19 and 20-year-old American whiskey. And the rest is 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then on the 15, it's 75% of it is actually 19 and 20-year-old whiskey. And the rest, the 25% is 10-year-old whiskey. So,
yeah, it's over 70%.
I was having a hard time blending this into a batch because every barrel, when they're 15, or 19 and 20-year-old stuff, it hurts.
Yeah. I mean, that you'll never get back, but hey, good blend, a good blend.
I do have some left, but it'd be a long time.
But we do this because of you.
Yeah.
And like he said, we have not raised price at all. So we're using these very, very crafted barrels for you in this juice. And we try to keep it as affordable as we can. We've got a guy over here.
Yeah, we love questions.
No,
it changes all the time. So we'll tell you what it is. You can text us. You can email us.
Yeah, call me anytime. Listen, Google Old Carter. That's my cell phone. All right, interwebs out there. Google, that's my cell phone. So to that point, hold on. To the point, I really, and I want to give kudos to Bardstown. Okay, I do appreciate that transparency.
I do too.
I wholeheartedly believe in what they're doing and how they're doing it. I don't want to discredit any of that. But to me, you have a little bit of some kind of judgment going into it. You know, I don't want that. I want the judgment to be the whiskey.
Yeah, just taste it.
Yeah, just taste it. You want to know what it is? Give me a call.
Because I've seen so many
There it
haters
is.
over the years. We used to hate, MGP. Then we finally got over that. Then they started hating Dickel, and hopefully we get over that. They're just good to still out there, and sometimes it ain't good.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, all whiskey is great, okay? Because when everybody else does good, we do good. When we do good, they do good. Rising tides rise all ships, right?
Absolutely.
So we are here to applaud not only old Carter, but we're here to applaud bourbon across the board at every distillery, American whiskey across the board. That is who we are. That is what we do. And that's what you all do. So yeah, we're just here to make the best products that we can, how we can, when we can, until we can't.
Now, if this bourbon thing doesn't work out for Booth and me, he's going to go into the ministry, and he's going to be
Amen.
an evangelist.
The whiskey ministry. I mean, my own cult. I'll call it big. Oh no, smoke church. Yeah, I'll just join you, Pickett. Yeah, I'll just get on your parade.
Any questions? We got one back there in the back.
Buff Turk? We don't.
We don't have buff, but we do have some other,
Maybe. Oh, maybe. Maybe. We can't. So we might have some barrels that rustle the feathers. Yeah. Yeah, you like that, huh? Yeah, that was good. I'm kind of witty. Yeah.
Any other questions out there? We got one back there.
Yeah, Mark. Hold on. Hey, listen, everybody likes what they like. Judgment aside, no whiskey is bad whiskey, in my opinion, because everybody likes everything. Nope. Now, there are barrels that we don't like, that other people might like.
They might, but that's not our
palate. But that's not us. So, yeah, nope. All whiskey's good whiskey, man. We can always redistill it, make it great.
We got a question over there.
There we go. Hey, now that's a great. There you go, Mr. Ginsberg.
Yeah, that was our Cabernet barrels from that Tocqueville vineyard, and maybe some of those barrels were actually used in one of the blends of Carter Cellars that we did get 100 points on, because it was a 21 was a great vintage out there, and that's about the time we actually gave them those barrels. We gave them 10 barrels, and they we love Dan Calloway and the whole team out at Bardstown Bourbon Company.
And I want to applaud Dan Calloway, that whole team, everybody. They do a great job. So let's applaud Bardstown Bourbon Company. They're doing some great things. John Cecil, shout out to him. He's a badass. I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Cecil, baby.
Yeah.
All right, Mark.
When are you going to finish Old Carter and Old Cellar?
Ooh.
I don't know. I just don't know. It was could have been one and done. I only did it because I know Bardstown Bourbon Company can do a good wine finish bourbon, and not a lot of people can do that, and when the Pfeiffer Cabot was phenomenal, and that's when I said I might do it with them, and I was asked to do it. I'd like to do it again with them, but I'd like to do it with 100 barrels so it would have a national release instead of just a Kentucky release, because that would help.
Bourbon with 100 point line.
Well, I'm trying to talk to him. I got to talk to the big guys upstairs, you know, because Dan would love to do it again, I'm sure, and I would love to do it again, you know. But you know, they're always looking for somebody with a little bit more name recognition instead of like, you know, Carter Cellars, which, you know, we've done really well, but we're not a household name.
You don't need to be.
No. Let's do 2 more questions. Chris, you're the next one, and then we have 1 more after that, and we're going to take it. Tommy, you're the next one. The next Chris.
Have you ever, like, when it comes to sourcing barrels, have you ever had a distillery or a broker call and say, I have a lot of 1,000 barrels, it's X amount of dollars, and you don't know what to get? Like, I mean, you may know your distilleries, but you don't know if it's going to be any good or what age.
Well, the best thing is when they actually come to us and give us samples of that lot.
We'll never buy anything without sampling it.
Yeah.
Let's just get that out of the way right now. We don't purchase blindly.
Yeah.
We don't purchase blindly.
Those lots are usually very similar, except that they're in a rick house, which can be all over the board. So they, you know, we'll have different, but you'll know that there's nothing wrong with the distillate. You know, it's not musky, you know, because we've tasted a lot of stuff that we won't take because it's just not clean. It's earthy, it's dirty.
Yeah, musky.
Yeah, musky.
Now we do like that. we do a little like that on our aged whiskey, but not when we first buy it. All right, who had the other?
So you did something with Bardstown. You have some WT. Have you thought about collabing with other people?
I don't think we'll ever say no.
No, it just depends on who and what quality they want to do. Because it has to be super, you know.
It has to be Old Carter. It has to meet the echelon of Old Carter. So we have the best, and I will challenge this to anybody. I will say this. We have the best American whiskey on the market. Come at me, please. Come on. We do.
Take you down.
We do. We are the gold standard right now as American whiskey. I will absolutely take that to my grave right now. Yeah. There you go. Whoever said that. Mr. Scott High over there.
All right. We want to thank you.
Before we say what Listen, this guy came at me at 2019. And I never knew it would grow to this. So, cheers really to you, Mr.
For what you have started.
You have done
very
incredible.
I want to cheer for helping this guy out too. So it wasn't to do that he would be where he's at. So this is a team effort. It's always a team effort. Whether it's in whiskey, whether it's in clubs, it's always a team effort.
Sit your ass down.
I don't want everything to say too. You can stay up. I got everything to say that this is one of the greatest communities in the world. This, the bourbon community, it brings people together. And we just need to do more of that all the time. Because we don't have that much that's not in common. We all have the same things in common. Let's work on that. We love you all. Thank you.
Ben. One thing we don't have in common are politics. Ben goes as far left as you can, and I'm like moderate left. Or maybe a little bit more right. But I've got an idea, Ben.
That was really
I got an idea. Why don't we change it to the big, beautiful bourbon club?
Good jacket on.
All right, the other kind of listen up. Tom Morrow, great friend of ours. He's got some guests in here, and if any of you all are subscribing to the YouTube bourbon channels, there's some really cool content on there, some great people. And Tom has brought a couple friends in that I'd like for him to introduce.
There's a dime heads up.
Any of you all subscribe to any of the three?
Wow.
Okay, we got work to do. We got work to do. Everybody subscribe. It's free.
Yeah.
It's free. And it's a great time. And so thanks, guys and ladies, for coming. We appreciate it. A couple of things. Just what's coming up. We've got a September, of course, is Bourbon Heritage Month, which we never do events. I'm not doing anything this summer. I've got other conflicts with schedules and plans. But we do have 2 events in October that won't be for everybody, but we have a really cool event at Stephen Fonte's house. 12 years ago, in a chance golf tournament that I ran, I introduced the head of Rocky Patel to Stephen Bean and Stephen Fonte. And as a result of that meeting 12 years ago, they are collaborating, and they've been down to Honduras multiple times, and they're bringing out Rocky Patel cigars that have been aged in 23 Yellowstone barrels that were shipped out of Honduras. Filler leaves, wrapper leaves, and we're going to release those at this small private party. There's a few seats left if anybody's interested. A week or 2 after that, we're going to go to Carbondale, Colorado. We're going to do a pick with Marvel, which will be, we did their first pick years ago, and we're going to do another pick with them. And then we've got a big event in Colorado Springs, and then we've got November, we've got Limestone Farms. We'll present here. And we've got Chapter Creed in February, which will be at Chapter Creed. And if you haven't been there, you're going to want to go to this. So lastly, Daryl Spurgeon. Daryl, wave to everybody. I just want to tell a quick story that just tells you how fast time goes. But I first met Daryl, he didn't even remember this probably. Well, my 2 older boys who were this number, like, they're 31 and 30 now. And when they were 6 and 5, I took them to a Boy Scout fishing derby. Yeah, well, it was actually Cub Scouts, and okay, I'll keep going. I've been a supporter of the Scouts forever, and I love the Scouts. But my 2 boys go, and they catch the biggest bass at the tournament. And Officer Spurgeon, police officer Spurgeon, they were hosting it for this fundraiser for the Scouts, and he took a picture of me and the boys, and they were really little. And Daryl comes up to me, he doesn't know me from that, he goes, man, I love the picture. Can we put it on next year's brochure? Do you remember that? Yes. And he put it on the cover of next year's scouting brochure. And I've seen Daryl, how many times since then? I've seen him at most 5 times in 25 years. Maybe at the airport, I think one time. It could be at a Kroger, it could be wherever it is. And out of the blue, Daryl comes back in my life about a month ago and joins the Bid Bourbon Club. So, I'm not going to ask you to do this, but we have a lot of other officers and men and women of blue of all different services. And thank you for that. Thanks, everybody. We're adjourned. All right. If you don't listen, you're not going to hear the question. This goes under the category of pop culture, which I know nothing about. But I'm going to give. I got a bottle of Old Carter I'm going to give away for the winner. Mark said I'll take a picture of you, sign it. And by the way, this is my gift, not theirs. I just want to differentiate. But here's the question. If you yell it out, you're disqualified. If you raise your hand and I call on you, you get it right, then you win the bottle of Old Carter, okay? Here's the question. Pop culture, 50 years ago today, what mega movie was released? All right, James, you win. Come on. Here you go. You guys win. That's $100. In all seriousness, that's a bunch of horseshit. You didn't win that, but you win this. This is my last girl pick off for Maker's Mark. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. tell us 45 years ago today what the trouble that movie was, Joe? That was 50 years ago. Raise your hand 45 years ago. Sandy? No. Chris? Jonathan? No.
Top Gun.
Raise your upper hand. What? No.
2001.
What else? No.
Oh, that was
Well, not you went Blues Brothers, but I had.